YouTube, my name's Lance and welcome to Bundy Bears Shed. Well, back in the shed this morning. It's Saturday morning and I thought I'd better get in. We're going to have storms at the moment, today sometime, so I thought I'd better get in before the shed made too much noise. But what did we do through the week? Well, we played with the Colorado a bit, and the Colorado's, the Ute's been on its best behaviour. Yesterday or Thursday afternoon, sorry, I started up and went to drive home and the ABS light started flashing, so I thought, okay, now I've got my scanner sorted out, I'll whiz home and keep it going and put the scanner on, and it looks like I wasn't getting power to the ABS computer. When I plugged the scanner in to the OBD2 port where it goes, it wouldn't connect with the ABS diagnostic thing. So not to worry, I turned it all off and disconnected the battery terminal and let it reset and put it all back on, and then when it reset I could scan it. The scanner would work okay. So, and the car still started and stopped, no worries, which had been a problem, you know, to let you down sometimes. And the scan showed a low voltage in the front left hand ABS sensor. So I went out and I had a look again. It's a new one and I couldn't see anything wrong with it. So today I'm going to trace the harness back. I had a suspension lift put in. We were having trouble when we were going fishing and that, and the fellas had been through with the bigger four-wheel drives with the big tyres. We found in our standard, more standard cars, we were bellying out a little bit. So so I put a 2-inch suspension lift in it, and that fixed the problem. We can sort of follow through, no worries now. But I'm wondering, I was talking to a fellow and he reckoned when they were doing his, they let the suspension sort of hang on the harness and buggered his up. So I'm going to go back up through the harness and just do a few checks. But it is checking out all right now. The light's not coming on, so who knows. I'm going to just keep using it until I can nut it out. And but look, yeah, it had a good week. Nothing went wrong apart from an ABS light come on. So anyway, it was just a sensor, so I cleaned the terminals, which I've done before, and fiddled around, and it cleared the code and away we went. So I'm suspecting it's not the sensor so much, it's probably in the harness a little bit there. I'll have a look at that. So the Colorado, Holden Colorado Ute, well, yeah, we might get on top of it yet. Well, we will get on top of it because, yeah, just have to. So, there's a bit of video this week. I got I made ages ago a ball turning tool for the lathe, and I made it when I was just it was one of the early jobs I did when I got a lathe, and there's quite a bit of footage on playing with that this week. It's not a bad thing, and it's funny how times change. Like when you make these things, and in the video I said 5 or 6 years ago, but pardon me, I think it's more like 10 years ago. But anyway, we'll see how we go. We'll see what happens with it. And there's a few things I'm just having a fiddle now, and where one piece turns in the other, I've got it sitting down on the bottom where I could machine a bit off and have it sitting lower, then shim the cutter up. But anyway, you'll sort of see as you watch the video. I also, Steve D, he got onto me through the week, and I'd already done the video on the ball turner, and he asked me about doing a socket. So there's a little bit on the end about doing the socket. Yeah, it's a failure, but that's how it goes. You've got to have a go, haven't you? And but with a better design on that tool, on the main cutting edge, it would work okay. John Ambler. John Ambler is one of my subscribers. He's got a channel. It's only a little channel yet. I don't know if he wants it to be a big channel or whatever. We haven't spoke about that, but he has a video there where he's taken a faceplate and put a cutter here and a weight there, and just to balance it out, and he's made a fly cutter for doing a cylinder head. And I've got this faceplate that I very rarely use, and it just bolts the back on. So I think John's going to be responsible for me finding another job to do. But anyway, look, it worked great, and I reckon it's one of those things. I looked at it and I thought, God, bloody hell, look at that. Why didn't I think of that? And part of making a fly cutter, I've started making my small fly cutter, but I don't want to go any further as yet until I've organised a left-hand tool to come, and I'm waiting on that. And once the left-hand tool comes, depending on the relief and all that, we'll decide exactly how we go about doing the groove here. So I'm in a holding pattern on that one for the moment, but I also mentioned to John about the dial indicator holder that I use a lot on my videos, and whenever this would be the most used tool. Whenever I use a 4-jaw chuck mostly, and I always just dial them in with this little with this little dial indicator. So, and what I did was pretty self-explanatory. That's just a piece of inch by 3/8 probably, 25 by 10, and I heated it up in the oxy and I bent it around at right angles, and so I wasn't using up another tool holder, I welded a couple of bits of 3/8 round onto it. And to hold the dial indicator, there's a little split there with a bolt, and you put the dial indicator in, you just nip that up a little bit, it's only got to be firm, and when I dial something in, I might just shift the video a little bit so you can see rather than doing that. There. Yeah, with my quick change tool post, it's a plunger type one, and by making the tool like that, I ground a couple of little flats inside there, and you'll also have to grind a flat there, just so it fits in the dovetail better, and it just slides in, and I have a little scribe mark along here, so that when the top of there, the top, this surface lines up with my scribe mark, I'm on the centre line of my lathe. So you can put it this way, you can drop it over here, you can drop it over the back and turn the dial indicator around if you want to do a face. And the advantage of that to me was that I didn't have to use another tool holder. Yeah, the quick change tool holders, yeah, I've got about 19, 20 or something like that, and that price adds up. So I've done that one, and look, that was when I first got my lathe. When I first got the quick change tool post, I had all my tool post holders full, and that was it. So, and for those of you who watch Double Boost, and I think most people in the world watch Double Boost, because they watch him and A-Bomb and all them, and me included, and the little roller that John made for sending over to the What's in the Box thing by Keith Fenner, this is my interpretation that I've had for many, many years too, and it works exactly the same. It just drops down, pop your thing on, move your tool in, and there's your ball bearing to rub on your job. If you want to straighten it up this way, just turn him upside down and go the other way, you know, for a washer or something like that. So that's my interpretation of them. I've had these for years and years, like I say, and they're as simple as a bit of 3/8 round. You could use 5/16 round, and yeah, it's just the theory behind it that's the go. And a tool like that, where you can just slide it on whenever you choose to, and away you go. So I just thought I'd show you that. John made a comment on my other on one of my videos about the digital surface measure that I made, or the block I made for the dial indicator. So that's just a better look at those. I have been asked a little bit about them over the time, so just a quick look, and it may help you all out. Well, this is a tool I made years ago. I haven't had it out in a long time, And I can remember reading about it somewhere and making it, and what it is it's a ball turner. And the idea is it sits on here, you machine a piece up like this, then as you come up to it here, you can slowly chew the corners away and end up with a nice ball. But we have a problem. Last time I used this, which must be a long time ago, I made this little handle. I made the little knob for it, so it does work well. And I thought with my Chinese lathe here, with some of the knobs buggering up on me, there's one here. They're only plastic knobs and they're a bit rubbish really. Anyway, I thought, well, I hadn't had my little turning device out for a while, I'd make a couple of knobs, couple of nice knobs for my lathe here. So, but anyway, when I went to fit the ball turner, the ball turning device that I'd made, it sits on there okay, which it always did. And bolts down, but you used to be able to turn it, and since making this I've put a DRO on my lathe, and so some of the movement that I had earlier is no longer there. And why do we need the movement? Well, that's the centre line. You need to be able to bring this tool around, right round, so this here is parallel with that shaft there. So the end result, once you've turned a relief there, is that sits in like that, and you slowly just work it manually, and you slowly just bring it around and form a ball. And the size of the ball depends on a couple of things. You need to get the centre of the pivot in the centre of your job so you get a ball. So what I usually do is try and get that at 90 degrees and just line that up with the little pip in the centre. And then you know that if you zero your DRO, you can move this in or out, and the difference, well, the centre of the pivot becomes the focus or the centre of your ball, is what I'm trying to say, I think. But also, look, you can make different shape things with it, just round ends and muck around. But the problem I'm having today is that when that sits down and bolts up, I'm not going to be able to run it right around to this other position. So I'll have to make a choice on which way I would go with it. So if we get the right size spanner, I may be able to undo this nut and take that out of the way, and it may well work where it is. It seems to be only on the nut that it hits, and it doesn't hit the nut by much, so we may be able to even halve the distance of the nut. But anyway, we'll have a bit of a fiddle and we'll come back and see what we can get up to. Well, this little ball turner, I made this many years ago before I had a lathe, or before I had a milling machine. I did it all on the lathe. A bit of 3/4 flat stock, and I just got it square enough. That looks pretty shit house for square now I look at it. And I set it up in the 4-jaw and I machined out through the centre here. And I machined this little fella here, and you can see that was done on a grinder and a sander. I ground it, I can remember grinding it and then sanding it. This fella here was the same, and finished with a file just fairly roughly. and I have grub screws in through the guts there, and you can actually undo them and bring this in or out depending on what your needs are, what size ball. So in theory you could have that way out here and do a very large ball. So, but look, to fix the problem that we have at the moment with this fella sitting there, we've got a good lip there, so I think I might put it in the 4-jaw and we'll turn it to a circle. It'll be an interrupted cut, but that should give us a large range of things that we can do. There's a screw comes through here, and that was from mounting the DRO originally, and I left it there. I thought, oh well, what's it matter? It's never been a problem before. So, but that'll give us a nice wide range of movement, and with it round here, well, the lever should be able to come about here and go right the way through, and that will give us the full range for the tool. So I think what we'll do, we'll unchuck this, my little ER40 collet holder. We'll turn the jaws around, we'll sit this little baby up in there, and we'll make a circle out of this. We only need to come in probably so far. Yeah, probably if we just rounded it off to the sides here, just bring that in a little bit, we should be okay. But boy, that looks out to buggery, that square. I'll go and just grab my little square. And that's what home machining does for you. Your capabilities at one time. That's a bit dicky up through here. That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, that's not too bad. There might be a slight gap in there. Yeah, there is. So yeah, with home machining, it's a learning process. You never stop learning. And this that I did probably, well, 5-6 years ago, something like that. Yeah, now I have a mill, I could dress it all up and I could do a lot nicer job. But anyway, no need. We'll just tidy this up and make it usable, and we'll go from there. Well, here's my setup. I've put the compound back on and the tool holders back on, and I've got the 3-jaw chuck in there now, and it's registered on that quite a large shoulder. But this will be an interrupted cut, and it's yeah, it's going to be a pretty rattly old start. But anyway, we'll make a start and we'll go from there. Okay, there we are. We've just hit the full circle, so we know that should fit in around here now. We should just drop in a deburr and just take the edge off. Right, so all being well, that should fit. That should make the tool usable again. Well look, I've turned this down. I've got it all okay. I've just chucked this in a little, I've left the 3-jaw chuck in there this time and just put it in a 6-sided ER40 collet. And I started having a little bit of a gnaw on the corner here. So, just watch and we'll see what we can get up to with it. So that's the general idea. This ball is getting a bit elongated, so I've got the, oh I only did it by eye, but yeah, the radius this way doesn't match the radius the other way. But that's fine. We will have a fiddle and see. I'll see if I can get it. You can see it's not a full ball, it's more of an oval. But that's alright, look, I'll have a fiddle and see how we go getting it set up. Even that would be fine, wouldn't worry us too much on the lathe, but we've obviously, every time we move this in, we decrease the diameter here, but the radius of swing doesn't change. So I'd say once we actually ping to centre point, that centre point there, I'd say if you wanted a 1-inch radius, well, you'd have to come out half an inch. Oh, 1 inch for radius. That would give you a 2-inch ball. But there has to be a calibration between the tool and where you have the centre here. So I suppose the centre of the pivot here, if we mark the centre of the pivot and you got that under the centre of here and in the centre of there, that would give you a perfect ball. Anyway, we'll keep fiddling. And that's the end result of our little afternoon fiddle. So I think we'll keep playing with this tool for a little bit. I'll try and get you in closer if it's possible. And with that, that looks a fairly even radius, but That might help you see it a little bit better. But anyway, the little ball tool, it's a bit handy. I should get it out more often, and I'll work out how to do a set of knobs for my lathe, which is the whole idea why we got the damn thing out to start with. But you get something out to do a little job, and the whole afternoon goes by and you're still there fiddling. So anyway, a few things to work out yet, from the centre here to the tip, and a few other bits and pieces, but the tool could be a lot better yet, and we'll work on getting it better, and we'll go from there. Well, I've had a bit of a chat with Steve, and Steve's one of my subscribers, and I mentioned about the little ball turning tool and a video coming up, and he said, could I do a socket? And so I said, oh, I'll have a go and see. But as far as failures go, it's been a success. Yeah, like, that's the ball I made, and that's in the earlier part of this, and I thought, oh, I'll see if I can just do a socket for there, and the wheels fell off. And the wheels fell off because when you're turning a concave shape, you can only, because I was turning this backwards, you can only come halfway, and you can only go from there out. I've moved this tool right in, so once you come, if you have a centre line here, once you're out this side, you do a ball. If you pull the centre this side, or the cutting tip this side of the centre, well, that lets you do a concave. But I started on it, but you get left with a tiny centre there, and so I think if you were doing it, you just drill a tiny relief up in the centre. But I can't do it on my machine because the tip only sticks out. The tip only sticks out about 3 millimetres from this support here, and so by doing that, that's the depth that I can go in, because you can see the mark there where it rubs on the socket. So in theory we could do a ball joint or a female socket, but we would have to make a tool that stuck out here and didn't need to be supported right there. So I imagine we could put a V in there and drop a little bit of high-speed tool steel in there, and I think if you put a little tool out, say 1/2 inch, you would probably do it. You'd have to go very steady because it's not supported. So yeah, Steve, look, I'll give it a go. That's all I'm going to do with it. I'm not going to rearrange all this. I don't need to at the moment, but that's the limit of this tool, that I can go in that deep, which is about 3 or 4 mil. It starts rubbing on here and you lose the advantage that you had. But as for making a little ball, well, yeah, that doesn't do quite a bad job really. But I still think I need to find a centre line and do a bit of calibration on this. But anyway, look, we'll put it away for the moment. We have other stuff we need the lathe for, so I just thought I'd show you that. Here you go, Brian. There's the top track going that way over into the sun, and down the bottom here, that's the rubbish that builds up in the track, and that goes along down through the side. Then I've got my main door, that's the main front door. It's split into 2, so, and then above the outside the track, the main track, there's a like a wind shelter, or stops the rain going through. Try and come out and give you a better view. But yeah, same sort of setup, but that bottom piece, that's the piece I complain about with everything. Everything goes in there. There's just a big bolt on the bottom of the door there. There's just a big bolt that goes back down into the track. A bit wobbly handheld, but it sort of had to be out. Last week I put out a video on doing the front end of the John Deere. Well, there's still quite a bit to do on that, and I get a lot of requests, a lot of private requests on, can you do a video on this on a tractor or on that on a tractor, and and I can do a lot of them. I'm working on them, but the tractor videos, they do take a fair bit to organise. I have to have the need to do it to start with, or own a tractor that I can work on, and with the limited time we have for doing videos, it's sort of it takes me quite a long time. It takes me a number of weeks to get through the whole job by the time you film it. But a job that would normally be done in, say, 5 or 6 hours, well, when you're filming and setting up and mucking around, well, it's a couple of days work. And so anyway, but I do enjoy doing it, so we're going to knock a few through. But look, that'll probably be all for Kangaroo Stew today, and we'll catch up with you next week, eh?